Man, I hate to sound like a broken record, but literally just yesterday, we made a video talking about the Montreal Canadiens and two Alexanders who happened to be in the organization. Alexandre Texier and Alexander Zharovsky. Lots to like out of both of these guys, and we talked about all that and more yesterday. But I may be sounding like a broken record in this video. Because yes, we will be diving into Alexander Zharovsky again, but in a pretty different way compared to before. Because I also wanted to showcase a video that we made on the YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago. This one here. How Elliotte Friedman confirmed the Montreal Canadiens stole Florian Xhekaj from the Florida Panthers. Well, turns out you can say the exact same thing about that same Alexander Zharovsky that we had spoken about yesterday. Maybe not because the Canadiens stole him from the Florida Panthers, but because they may have stolen him from some other team. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go out there and read this article published on rg.org by Daria Tuboltseva on November 30th, 2025. This is an interview with Vladimir Malakov, who, if you're not familiar with this dude, I wouldn't blame you. You don't necessarily see guys all over every organization be tossed out there into the spotlight, but Vladimir Malakov is a New York Islanders European scout. And he also worked for the Islanders as a development coach the past few years. You may remember him as a player in the National Hockey League in the 90s and 2000s. He played for Montreal, he played for New Jersey, New York, the Philadelphia Flyers. Malakov had a pretty decorated NHL career before becoming the scout and development coach that he is now. And this interview by Daria Tuboltseva highlights some of the ins and outs of the New York Islanders process. Key takeaways from this article: Vladimir Malakov outlines why the New York Islanders targeted Maxim Shabanov and Maxim Saplakov, emphasizing their adaptation process, needed adjustments to NHL demands, and the organization's long-term patience with both of these guys. I just wanted to fact-check that. Shabanov. Is his first name Maxim? Yeah, it is. And then Saplakov, I'm pretty sure he's also a Maxim. Yeah, they're both Maxims. Nice to see that over there. Malakov then highlights Matthew Schaefer's maturity, defensive awareness, and record-setting start, underscoring why the club views him as a core piece of its 2025 draft class. Malakov then describes the transition from Lou Lamoriello to Matthew Darche, the club's more open communication style, and why picks like Prokhorov and the pursuit of Zharovsky reflect a broader scouting overhaul. Now wait just one gosh darn second there, folks. Zharovsky. The pursuit of Zharovsky. Turns out, the New York Islanders were in on this guy too, before the Montreal Canadiens snagged him up in the 34th overall spot. Let's scroll down in the article and read where exactly Zharovsky's name is even mentioned over here. Take a look at this. So, there is a part in the article where Malakov talks about Matthew Schaefer. As a former high-end two-way defenseman, Vladimir Malakov shared his opinion about the Islanders' rising star and first overall pick in Matthew Schaefer. The 18-year-old D-man has already set multiple records, including becoming the youngest defenseman with a 2-goal game and the youngest overtime winner. The kid is impressive. I watched him a bit, we talked. He came to dinner after the draft. Very open, very grounded. He has a tough story. He lost his mother, and he also missed an entire season. And again, we go back to defense. Malakov repeatedly stressed that defensive play is a major issue for young players, especially Russian players. That's probably one of the biggest problems. Guys stop playing when they lose the puck. In the NHL, work ethic means both with the puck and without the puck. The Islanders had a unique situation at the latest draft. They won the lottery with only a 5% chance of winning, and also held 2 more first-round picks. And, that was absolutely bananas, man. We talk about the draft lottery odds being skewed in favor of the most ridiculous teams some years, and Sorry, New York, but you guys are going to go down in history with that label attached to y'all too. But I don't think you really mind. Matthew Schaefer is very good. And you're not going to apologize to anybody for winning any draft lotteries now, won't you? Malikov says this: when we got the first pick, I called Trent Klatt, our head of scouting, and said, we got lucky. He said, finally. It almost never happens. Taking 3 prospects in the first round is fantastic. We drafted them today. In about 4 years, they should help lift the team. This is where Montreal Canadiens fans will get interested in the piece, because it says here the Islanders also hoped to draft Alexander Zharovsky. But it didn't work out. Montreal took him. We're very happy with Daniil Prokhorov. He should have gone in the first round but slipped to the second, thankfully. I was sitting there waiting and they asked, do we take him? I said, take him please. We wanted Zharovsky too, but Montreal grabbed him earlier. Now, let's just review the draft positions and talk about the draft selection, because Daniil Prokhorov is indeed a New York Islanders prospect. He was taken 42nd overall by the Isles in the second round of the 2025 draft. 18 years old, 6'6", 218 left-handed right winger, and a guy who this season, playing for various KHL, VHL, and MHL teams, is at a pretty reasonable clip of production here. He's under a point per game in the MHL, under a point per game in the VHL, and has had 13 games with Dynamo Moscow in the KHL. It's hard to really put a label on what Prokhorov has been able to do so far as a big winger going out there and doing his thing. But Alexander Zharovsky, New York's projected pick in the 42nd overall spot, had they gotten the guy that they wanted, ended up going 34th overall to Montreal. So 8 picks before the Islanders selected, you had Montreal taking the guy that they wanted the most. And for good reason, you know, we just made a video talking about Zharovsky and what he's been able to do this season in the KHL. This guy's on pace to breaking Ivan Demidov's junior single-season point record in the KHL. That's crazy. If he continues on the pace that he's at, which is currently 23 points in 26 games, he will break Demidov's record, he will overtake Kirill Kaprizov, he would do all this at 18, 19 years old, and he would be one for the record books. Sure, power play time plays a part in that, and we did discuss all that in yesterday's video. There's a big opportunity that Zharovsky has being given here with Salavat Yuleyev. But make no mistake about it, this is a guy who's producing at such a significant rate that he's literally outproducing a guy who was a 5th overall pick the year before in 2024's draft in Ivan Demidov. That's ridiculous. And to think this guy was taken in the second round. A lot of Canadiens fans were going out there and speculating that, hey, if the Canadiens had their 2 mid-first round picks that they inevitably ended up not using and sending over to New York in the first place for Noah Dobson, they might have taken Zharovsky anyway. So the way the draft went, it almost went perfectly for Montreal. They were able to get the D-man they wanted, they were able to get one of the top prospects they wanted, and they ended up cucking the New York Islanders, who were forced to settle with Prokhorov. And I know the article says here, hey, we're very happy with the guy that we took. He should have been a first-rounder, but he slipped. We wanted to take him. We wanted Zharovsky, though, but we're happy with the guy that we took. Does this not scream, hey, if we had the choice between this guy or this guy, we probably would have selected Zharovsky, but darn it, those Montreal Canadiens took him from us. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this idea that was confirmed by Vladimir Malikov that the Islanders, super interested in Zharovsky, but they weren't able to get it done because of Kent Hughes and his crew? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.